if they're hurting, you have an opportunity to either twist the knife or to try to actually come alongside and, put an arm around them. Hey, I know things didn't turn out the way that you hoped. Just want you to know, I'm here for you.
Having guests on the show who are very outspoken about their faith, because for me, I went away from faith for some time.
Mm-hmm.
And in the season of life I'm in right now, we have been back in our church and heavily involved in our church for the past few months. And it's been so gratifying, to pour into it. And as we're recording now on November 8th, we're 3 days post election here in the United States in 2024. And I'm seeing a number of people that are posting online. They're posting biblical passages and quotes about how we've been fooled and the devil is coming, and something to the effect of, if anyone here voted for Trump, who just won the election, if anybody voted for them, then these people who claim to be Christians are saying that they wish that those Trump supporters would die. And that is highly inflammatory and challenging for me to hear that. That someone who's talking, I'm not talking about politics, I'm talking about our faith, that someone has a strong faith and they're also wishing someone that would die. My question for you, if someone who's been tested in your faith, and you just shared that, how might you respond to someone that might come at you and, be angry and use the scripture against you? Yeah. How would you respond to something like that or someone like that?
I mean, Jesus tells us, man, that they hated him first before they hate us. So I would say that's heresy, that's lying. And I go straight when I look at scripture and I look at, the political landscape. I'm a Christian and I walk by that faith, and so much of the conservative biblical worldview aligns there. And that's where I see the alignment. And it really comes down to fundamental truths. And a couple fundamental truths for me is the establishment of the covenant of marriage between one man and one woman for life. I believe that's it. And the second one is that we were created, each of us individually and unique. And that moment of creation is in the womb. I mean, scripture talks about we were knitted together in our mother's womb. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. And these are things I speak over my children all the time. And I just don't see how anything outside of the conservative worldview and the biblical worldview aligns. It aligns to scripture, because, so far as a right to choose or these different types of dividing type of topics and worldviews is what gets us in so much trouble. And I just see that the marriage, so much. I was in a conversation yesterday with some guys. The marriage, and children, they're just under attack. But it's time for men, particularly Christian men, to stand up and start doing what we've been called to do, and stop abdicating that responsibility to someone else. It's not a pastor's job to lead my family. No. It's my job. It's my job to do that. And as soon as we start embracing that, so anybody, when they get on the, I don't spend a lot of time on social. I hate it, for one. We have to for the lion, for some of the stuff. But whenever I see those political types of statements and that type of outreach, I pray for them, because I think they're mistaken. I think they're not following the scriptures.
I couldn't agree more that if someone brings to my door their own pain or their own heresy or their own hate, or just they're upset, my first thought, and back in the day, used to be very defensive and protect my own. And now my first thought is a little bit of empathy towards them, because they're in a lot of pain.
Right.
And they're not talking to me directly. They're expressing something that's deep within them towards their pain. It's not towards me as a human, it's towards their pain. So my first response now is towards empathy.
Right.
It's not towards tolerance. It's more towards, I'll pray for them, and I hope that they find their healing in some way.
Right.
I'm not willing to accept these worldviews or these perspectives as the gospel. I'm not willing to accept these things. I'm going to live by them,
Right.
but I am able to hear them if they need to express something to let their pain out. And there does come a time, however, when I don't want to be the nice guy and just listen.
Right.
At the same time, I feel compelled that if this is my faith, and it is, and it's a faith of loving my neighbor, then win, lose, or draw, rain or shine, I've got to practice empathy and love with my neighbor, even if they're blaspheming me to my face. How does that connect with you and your practical experience? Just being able to take it, you know?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And Matt, so every morning inside our line within this community, I go live. There's a functionality where we can do that. And I just read scripture to the guys. So Wednesday morning, you wake up, and I get the email from the Daily Wire. It's pretty intense, right? And so I have this scripture. We're going through the book, the Psalms, and I think it was Psalms 98 or 99. There's somewhere in there, and I told them, I said, guys, you have a major opportunity today, because there's a lot of people who are just upset of the outcome, and I get it. In any type of election, you're going to have winners, you're going to have losers. I said, you as Christian men have a responsibility today, and you have an opportunity that God has put in front of you, a unique one, because pretty much it's pretty evident the guys that I'm running with, the guys who are picking up what I'm putting down, they're pretty conservative, right? So they're pretty happy with the outcome. I said, but we have a unique opportunity today, because people in your workplace or your sphere of influence, or just in your whatever your path takes you today, if they're hurting, you have an opportunity to either twist the knife or to try to actually come alongside and put an arm around them. Hey, I know things didn't turn out the way that you hoped. Just want you to know, I'm here for you. And just by small little acts of kindness like that, like, you never know, that could open up an opportunity for them to want to know more about you as a person, your faith. And I said, don't think about from evangelism. I think we get it completely wrong. Like coming in with scripture and hitting them with the Romans road, which all that stuff is super important, just not out the gate. You have to connect, and it's a relationship.
Yes.
Love God, love others. I was like, and no one can refute what God's done for you in your life. So, like, I can tell you about God, how God has moved for me, and you can't go and debunk that, because it's just, this is what God's done for me. I'm like, and as you do that, guys, people, that's what connects with people. That's why Jesus told parables and stories, because people want to see that authenticity. So I told him, I said, steward this opportunity well of a Wednesday that it's a sea of red. I totally get it. Everybody's pumped up. But how could you take this as an opportunity to spread the gospel and bring someone closer to knowing the truth? And that was the big aha moment for a lot of the guys.